What if I told you that there exists a place in Bangladesh where there is a wishing stone that if you pour milk on it, your wishes will come true? There is a well that if you sprinkle the water on a dead body, that the bodies would come alive, revived from their eternal slumber. That there is a mud hut which was built so strong that it could almost protect a newly wedded bride and groom, reincarnated angels, from the wrath of a spiteful snake goddess. And all of these places exist in one ancient archaeological city ruins in the northwestern part of the country. Well, of course, these are all myths, but there cannot be any smoke without fire. Some myths descend from legends and some from history. And the historical, legendary, mythical archaeological place that I'm talking about is none other than Mahastangarh, situated in the Bogra district of Bangladesh. The oldest archaeological city ruins that have yet to be excavated in this country, dating back to almost 2,500 years. This video will all be about the ancient myths and legends surrounding this millennium-old fortress city. Okay, first of all, I have a confession to make. I am not good at presenting dry, boring historical information in an interesting manner. So what I will be talking about in this video are only the things I find interesting about Mahasthangarh. Mainly the myths, which have most of them already been proven to be untrue. However, they have been passed down from generation to generation to locals living in that area in the form of tales, stories, fables. So I think it would be quite interesting to share those with you guys, rather than the boring facts, years, and construction details of the fort city, most of which are myths surrounding three characters from two vastly different times. One is the Chand Saudagar and his family, the legend of Behula and Lakshindar from presumably 2,500 years ago. However, the myths state that it is at least 5,000 years old. Well, myths are myths. The other two people are from the same time period, somewhere between 1200 to 1400 years ago, are the great king Parshuram and the Sultan Balkhi, or otherwise known as Mahishawar. Even though this fort city was originally built by the practitioners of Buddhism, according to archaeology, later it went into the hands of Hindu kings, followed by Muslim sultans. According to the tales written by the legendary pilgrim from China, Yuan Tsang, this place, the Mahasthangarh fort city, or Pundranagar as it was known back then, was the teaching place of many Buddhist monks and missionaries on this side of the Himalayan mountain range. They would study here and then from here go to other places in South and Southeast Asia to spread the great teachings of the Buddha. However, after it went into the hands of the Hindu kings, one such king at that time was the king Parshuram, who is said to have mythical powers, one of which came from a water well in his kingdom at that time, which was called Jiyat Kunda, the remains of which is still present to this day. According to legends, the well water could revive the dead when the king Parshuram sprinkled it on their cadavers. This ability was so powerful that the surrounding kings of the area were afraid to even think of waging war against the undying soldier of Parshuram. In the current day, you guys might have to cut a separate ticket to view it. However, be assured that no such king exists today. Water has dried up and the mystical powers have been lost forever. According to legends, his adversary at that time was the Muslim Sultan Balkhi, hailing from the land of Balkh, of Afghanistan. Legends say that he first took permission from the king Parshuram to spread the faith of Islam in his lands. The deal was that he could only spread the faith in the area the same as his prayer mat. So when he laid down the prayer mat in the location currently known as the Sultan Balkhi's Mazar, the mat expanded exponentially in all directions right up till Parshuram's palace, which led to the eventual conflict between them. Parshuram was not to be outdone though, because he had another yet mystical place under his command, known as the Khodar Pathar Vita, literally translated as the god's stone house. It's not a house, but a very smooth granite stone slab that, according to historians at that time, was used to sacrifice livestock to the gods. Women at that time would go to the altar barefooted, pour milk and shindur on it while praying. According to legends, it could grant any wish if the prayer was sincere and faithful enough. How the conflict between these two mythical figures was resolved is still a thing of mystery. There are two versions of it I have found in the internet and scouring books. One version is spoken by the locals of Bangladesh living around the area, and another version I have found from books written by authors in Assam and West Bengal of India. The ending of the story was filled with treachery, betrayal, trickery, braveness, and everything else you can find on an epic, and the use of beef and pork against each other. So I also felt it was kind of filled with spite, so I will not mention the details here. Just know, in the Bengali version, Mahishawar was the eventual winner, freeing the oppressed people from Parshuram's rule, and in the Indian version, Parshuram was the eventual winner, defeating Mahishawar, who wanted to usurp his land and people. My recommendation is that if you ever visit this country, you visit Mahastangarh too and know the story for yourselves. After this, we move on to the legend of Behula and the Lakshindar, starting with the life of Chand Saudagar, who was a devout believer of Shiva, the Lord of Destruction. At that time, Shiva's daughter Manasha, the goddess of snakes, was still not allowed to spread her faith in the form of Murti Puja or praying to statues in the mortal world. Shiva said that only and only if she could convert a devout believer of himself into hers would she be allowed to spread her faith. Goddess Manasha chose Chand Saudagar, and unless he compiled, she cursed him that all of his sons would die with the bite of a snake, which later came true, except Lakshindar, who somehow survived right till he got married to Behula, his childhood sweetheart. Chand Saudagar, the greatest merchant of that time in all of India, used his wealth to create a mud hut so strong that it could fight back all supernatural powers as the bridal chamber for his son and new daughter-in-law. Alas, the goddess had her ways, and Lakshindar was still bitten by a snake on that very same night. That mud hut is called Gokul Medh, which is in the current day Mahastangarh. You guys can still see it if you come. The legend of Behula and Lakshindar does not end there, however. It is one of the lesser known epics of India called the Mangal, just like Mahabharata and Ramayana. You guys can find the full copy of the book online. Even YouTube videos that explain the whole story are available. On a side note, the Gokul Medh was of course proven by historians and archaeologists to actually be a Buddhist monastery and place of study, just like all the other mud huts in that area. However, this is not important for this video. There are many more places in Mahastangarh like Shila Devir Ghat and Skonder Dhap with their own small legends. Even Kalahan wrote a book called Rajatarongin that mentioned the king Parshuram and his legendary exploits in the region. It's also unfortunately one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites that have been considered the top 10 most under threat from poor city planning. A lot of archaeological relics are still being excavated till this day, which are kept in a museum in Mahastangarh. However, a lot of archaeological relics have been lost because of urban development. So my advice is, if you guys want to see it, then don't take too much time to visit this beautiful country. I promise you, you won't regret it. So that's it, guys. I will not make this video any longer. If you guys liked it, please let me know in the comment and by pressing the like button. For those who have yet to subscribe to this channel, please do, and click the bell icon so that you will not miss any future updates. This has been Tirtho from Art Sanctum, signing off.